Hey riders, thanks for joining me today. I'm out and about and I thought I'd do a quick update on my 2019 Speed Twin. I've owned her for about 2.5 years now. She's got 8,000 miles on her now, so I thought I'd go over the good, bad and the ugly with you. So, without further ado, let's go. Let's have a little walk around first. Obviously I've done a few mods on this bike, as you can see, and which I'm going to list in a minute. Get a cracking looking bike. Yes, I've owned this bike for 2.5 years, 80,000 miles. It's next Hinckley bike, so possibly a press bike, maybe. So in terms of pros, I mean, this engine is of course the glorious high power 1200 Bonnie engine, and yeah, it's grunty, sounds good, plenty of performance, can't complain at all, and it's a great looking lump, especially with the obviously the fake cooling fins. Yeah, it's got a great engine, and do you know what? I ride this bike sometimes pretty hard, sometimes just take it easy. Get about 56 miles to the gallon out of it, no matter how hard I thrash it. So, you know, I mean, maybe if you're riding it to a racing kind of level, you might get low 50s, but yeah, very economical engine. Very, very good, very impressive on the fuel economy. Brakes, obviously you got the Brembo brakes here, and they're good. They're not as eye popping as say on the Speed Triple RR, but they're progressive, got plenty of fuel, and they do the job on this bike. And the looks are standard. Honestly, I've done some mods on this bike which I'll list in a minute, but even the standard is a great looking machine, I think. You know, and when you own a bike, you can, you know if you love a bike when you actually look back when you're moving away from it, walking away from it, and this is that kind of bike as standard, even without the mods I've done. Also, you've got plenty of scope for modifications, you know, Triumph own brand or you know, aftermarket. There's tons you can do to these bikes now. There's plenty of options, so you can customise your heart's content, which I love. And the build quality, can't complain about it. I mean, although I don't ride in winter, so she'll be put away late October, I'd say. Yeah, so over winter she does get quite a bit of condensation on her, but there's no major issues to report, no major corrosion, no discolouring. I'd say if you rode this bike in winter, even, you know, any bike of this kind in winter, then you are asking for trouble. It's not really what it's designed for. You can, but you know, don't complain when it's full of rust. It's just not that kind of bike. But yes, everything's held up pretty well. The paint is pretty deep, no issues. Few and minor scratches on the tank as to be expected from usage, but yeah, apart from that, happy with everything. What's not so good on this bike then? The stock suspension is awful. I think they've improved it with the 2020, is it 2021 model, wasn't it? Yeah, or 22. Well, anyway, the newer version they've improved it, but the standard suspension is shocking. Especially the front. It just you know, over bumps you can really feel everything, and yes, it's not good at all. It's terrible. So I'll come to what I've done about that in a minute to improve it. There is a slight jerkiness at low speeds from the fueling. Again, I've cured that by way of a Ducati spacer, which I'll obviously I can't link to because it's on a different account, but I did do a fitting video on my other account when I fitted it ages ago. But yeah, simple job, just to open up the throttle housing. It's just a little plastic spacer that goes in. Very simple job. Yeah, the tank is a bit small. You get about 120-130 miles before hitting reserve, so I suppose it's not too bad. You'd probably get about 150-160 miles if you took it easy. The engine as standard does run a bit hot, has to be said, and the fan kicks in quite a bit. Since putting a decal on though, it's still runs hot but not as bad. It's a bike that's cheap to run as well, and the service intervals are 10,000 miles. And I have my servicing done with an independent, so it's poured at BTD Racing in Frapston. You know, it costs me about 150, couple of £100 a year just to get. In fact, it's probably less than that, to be honest. I just haven't got the figures to hand. But yeah, it doesn't cost much at all to run. So you know. Apart from that, I mean, obviously your tax is a higher bracket, that's the only problem. But servicing wise, go to an independent. Even your annual service at the Triumph shouldn't be too much if you're not doing anywhere near 10,000 miles like me. I think I've had my brake pads changed at about 7,000 miles on one of the services. No, but I think it's about 6,000 miles actually, thinking about it. Yeah, so that's one thing to factor in. The tyres, these Michelin Road 5s have lasted, I think I put on about 4,000, so on about 4,000 miles, and they're starting to square off a little bit, so I will be replacing them with Road 6s next service, but there's still plenty of tread in them. So what's the list of my mods I've had done? Oh. Okay, so at the front, just put the Air Max Cafe Racer screen on, which looks absolutely banging. Just also not long put the Arton Works clock faces on. Much less busy than the stock ones. Obviously quad lock there. Make sure you get a vibration dampener, whatever you do, because my original phone, the camera busted on it. Rizoma mirrors, RNs, and Triumph billet, I think they're billet, how you say it. Levers, brake and clutch. Got the Triumph scrolling LED indicators. Now these apparently are not meant for this bike, but I've got them off eBay for cheap enough, and I thought I'd give it a go, and yeah, they work. Absolutely fine. There's an option to go into the menu. There is a menu you can bring up on the clocks, and for various indicators. So you just have to bring it up and choose a setting you want. Yeah, I put various little Motone trinkets on the oil filler cap, little bits there. Again, the rear wheel spindle nut. Obviously performance wise, I've got the Motone Saturn 5 end cams, which look really trick. I've already touched on this, but the Tech X pipe under there, And under here you will see a couple of box of tricks, the quick shifter and Dynojet power commander. That's the Nitron shocks, all their glory, and the forks. Fork springs, not forks I should say. There you go. Can't think what else to touch on really. I mean, as I said, she's been a brilliant bike. Had no issues with her, no problems. Been totally bulletproof. I think the only minor issue I had when I first got her, a couple of times she cut out at slow speeds. Started thinking straight away. But since being serviced and obviously probably having the audio updates done, never done it again, so literally just happened a couple of times. I've heard of a few people that happening too, so it's just a case of getting a software update, I reckon. No problems there. She doesn't use a drop of oil, so that's about it really. Can't think what else to say about her. I mean, if you are after a modern retro kind of bike or a bruiser type of bike, this is definitely the a bike I would recommend. You know, I mean, obviously that a lot of it depends what kind of engine you like. I mean, I just love I'd have a twin really, and I find inline fours a bit sawdust personally, so this works really well for me. So yeah, any questions about this Speed Twin, just ask in the comments. That's what I'm here for. Cheers for riding with me, V-Riders. Speak to you on the next one. Over and out.